You don't trust open source software? 6 reasons why you should. You might feel hesitant to use free and open source software, especially since so much of the code comes from volunteers. In most areas of our lives, having a product come from a reputable company is a plus. Why trust code from some volunteers over the high-quality software from the experts at Microsoft, Apple, and Google? 1. Public code is code you can trust. The fundamental problem with much of the software that comes from large, well-known tech companies is that the source code is hidden from view. It's proprietary information, and you can get in trouble for viewing, modifying, or redistributing the code. Your only option is to use the software as is and trust that it's safe to run, or you can opt not to use the software instead. This type of code is known as closed-source software. 2. Those big companies? They all trust open source. What's the first company that pops into your mind when you think of big tech? All 3 of these companies use open-source software to varying degrees and contribute back to certain projects. Consider how Microsoft invests in the Linux kernel, an open-source operating system, to make Azure a compelling cloud computing product. Google utilizes Linux not only in the cloud but on Chromebooks and Android. The companies below were all platinum members of the Linux Foundation at the beginning of 2023. The Internet itself is largely built on open-source architecture. Web developers are familiar with what's called the LAMP stack: Linux, Apache, MySQL, and PHP, which they often use as the foundation for websites and web apps. 3. We are all invested in the same code. When source code is openly available, it enters a sort of public commons. Like with public roads, we're all invested in infrastructure being reliable, private citizens and corporations together. So while a lot of open source software does come from volunteers, a large amount also comes from paid employees. For example, the Linux kernel is found in supercomputers and mobile phones alike. Everyone from manufacturers to scientists has reasons to contribute patches to the Linux kernel that add features or fix bugs. 4. The software is, usually, given freely. Most open-source software is free of cost to use, but this is a distinguishing characteristic that doesn't stand out as much as it once did. These days, most software doesn't come with a price tag. But there is a difference. Closed-source software is often free because the developers have found another way to profit from the project, usually via collecting and selling or otherwise utilizing data about us. When you use Google Docs, every keypress is available for Google to log and monetize in any way it wishes. Google can make more money from getting as many people to use Google Docs as possible than it can from selling the software to the minority that would be willing to pay for it. Open-source software is truly given freely, with no strings attached. When you use LibreOffice, no one knows what you do with the software. LibreOffice is free because, in a world where so much is done on computers, it can be considered unjust to make people choose between buying expensive software or having their personal behavior monitored to take part in society. This brings us to our next point. 6. Open-source software has stood the test of time. Many open-source projects have been around for decades. Consider Mozilla Firefox, LibreOffice, GIMP, Audacity, and VLC. These are programs that have gradually gotten better, gaining new features while losing old bugs. The same can be said for background software, like the Linux kernel, or desktop environments, like GNOME and KDE. This software is mature and proven. This isn't to say that there isn't stable closed-source software that has been around for years. But you already trust proprietary software. The point here is that plenty of open-source software is just as time-tested, if not more so. It's also worth noting how in the proprietary software world, when a company goes bust, its software goes away. Open-source software is the most trustworthy software. Open-source software doesn't always offer the most features or the best performance. There are many proprietary programs that outdo the competition. But when it comes to matters of trust, that is an area where open-source software serves best. It isn't after your data. It doesn't want to serve you ads. It isn't trying to lock you into an ecosystem. If you want to use your computer with peace of mind, free and open source software is the way to go.